Hi you all. It's Monday of our second week of class, and I just wanted to touch base with everybody. First, to review a little bit of week one, and also to look ahead at this week and kind of go over what to expect for you all. Just really quick, a review for last week. You all should have by now been able to get into the course on Blackboard and go through all the folders and just to see how everything is set up. I'm hoping that now you kind of feel comfortable with the course and how to navigate everything and where to find everything. If you still have questions about that, email me and I'd be happy to help you out. Also, by now you all should have viewed that orientation video by Michelle and had a chance to look through the packet of information that she put together for you all. If you all have any questions about that, also, you can email me. Once you viewed all that information, you should have emailed me, which most of you all have done by now, just to let me know that you viewed it, that you understand everything, and also to let me know about your criminal background check. If you have already submitted that and have that on file with the Early Childhood Department, please let me know. I'm keeping a note of that before I contact the department and get a list of the official names to make sure everybody has their checks before we get into the observations this semester. A lot of you have already let me know, so if you have, that's perfect. No need to email me again. So those are just a couple of the things that I wanted to go over of the week one. I'm sorry. Also, by now, hopefully you all have had a chance to get the book, The Exceptional Child. We are going to go ahead and start readings in this book this week. It's really, really important that you stay on top of the readings. We are going to have chapter quizzes that are all on Blackboard that will kind of assess your understanding of that chapter. And for me, if I see that maybe you didn't do very well on a quiz, I think there are 10 questions each quiz, it kind of is a red flag for me just to maybe touch base with you to see if you maybe misunderstood anything in the chapter or if you have questions. So it just kind of helps me to know if you're understanding the content of the course and what we're talking about. So it's really important that you stay on top of that. So this week what we're going to be talking about is in chapters 1 and 2, so make sure that you read over those chapters. Chapter 1 is about inclusion, and when we talk about inclusion in education, it means whenever all children, no matter what learning abilities they are, whether they have been identified with a disability, whether they have an IEP, all children, special education and the general ed classroom are in one classroom together. So that's basically what inclusion is. It's whenever you are including everyone, hence the word inclusion. So that's pretty easy to remember. Pretty much all classrooms, whether it's a public or a private school, pretty much everywhere now is an inclusion-based system. So it's very rare now that you will find in any school across the country classes of just special education children that aren't being included in the general ed classroom. Now, some children, some individuals have a severe disability where they may have to be in another classroom, or maybe they spend part of the day with a special education teacher specifically, and then part of the day with the general ed classroom. So there are situations where it varies a little bit, but for the most part, all classrooms, no matter what the grade level, are inclusion classrooms now. That includes early childhood. So a lot of times when we talk about inclusion, we automatically think about the classroom. But inclusion can happen anywhere, inside or outside of the classroom. One example would be maybe soccer. If your children play in a soccer league or a basketball league, those are considered inclusion programs because it doesn't matter whether a child or an individual has a disability or not. Everyone is included. So that's just one example of inclusion, and in your book it will go into deeper detail about that, so make sure that you check that out. Chapter 2 is about the federal legislation. Sometimes this kind of information can be a little bit boring, but it's really important that you read and understand that information because it really is important to know about the history of individuals with disabilities. You know, a lot has changed and evolved since years and years ago. Individuals with disabilities used to be treated a lot differently than they are now. And so there's been a lot of laws and different legislation that's been put into place that has helped education and just individuals with disabilities now, different policies and systems that are set. It's helped it evolve to where it is now. So that is another really important thing that you all are going to be learning about this week. So let's see, your assignments for this week, you have your discussion board, which is going to be talking about a term called normalization, and that's basically kind of like the inclusion that I was just talking about. It's basically whenever things for all individuals, whether someone has a disability or not, are normalized, and individuals with disabilities are pretty much given the same rights and treatments and that sort of thing as all of society. So that's what normalization is. You'll read about that also in your book, and that's what your discussion board will be over. So remember that your initial post is due by Wednesday at midnight, and then your 2 responses to classmates are due Sunday by midnight. You will also have a quiz over Chapter 1, so make sure you look into that. If something happens with your connection and you get kicked out, just email me and I can reset the quiz for you. Sometimes that happens. Your assignment, you will do a legislative outline with, you are giving certain different laws that were passed, and you are going to create an outline that explains those laws. And if you go into the week 2 folder, you will see that assignment and you will see the instructions for that. And that's it. So those are your 3 things that you'll have due this week. So make sure that you're checking that out in the week 2 folder. If you have any questions, let me know sooner rather than later so that I can answer your questions and you can get started on those things. Also, be looking for your grades to be updated. I try to go through the prior week's assignments and get those graded no later than 2 weeks after you've submitted them. I like to stay on top of those, so be on the lookout for those also. So again, if you all have any questions, let me know. Email me, and I will get right back with you as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will talk to you all next week. Have a good one. Bye.